Hey everybody, it's Glenn back in this video to kick off my reviews of the Marvel Legends Space Venom Build-A-Figure wave, and what better place to start than Ultimate Spider-Man? Well, one of two of them, they're in the wave, sharing the same packaging and united under the banner as Ultimate Spider-Man. Today's subject is Peter Parker, but on one side of the packaging you see the other Ultimate Spider-Man, Miles Morales. Then the opposing side features Peter Parker himself swinging into action. Then, turning to the packaging back, we get the briefest of bios, which reads, "With amazing agility and wall-crawling skills, these young web slingers take down the bad guys." Then pictured are both of our Ultimate Spider-Man, Peter Parker, alongside his successor, Miles Morales, and there's the Build-A-Figure of this wave, Space Venom, with my reviews of the wave, culminating with a look at that bath. But in the meantime, the action figures you will need to collect to build him are both of the Ultimate Spider-Man, Electro, Silk, Spider-Bitch, and Hobgoblin. So here is Ultimate Spider-Man Peter Parker out of packaging, and if you're confused as to just which version this is, I can soon clear that up for you. This is Peter Parker as he appeared in the Ultimate Comics, which was a separate continuity to the main Marvel one, essentially a modernized reimagining intended as an easy jump in for new readers back in 2000 who might otherwise be intimidated by 40 years of complicated comic continuity. Adding a bit of confusion is that the name Ultimate Spider-Man has, as you likely know, now been applied to the latest incarnation of a Spider-Man animated series, yet despite sharing the name and a teenage Peter Parker, the comics and cartoon are not alike. So yeah, a teenage Peter Parker, just 15 when the Ultimate Spider-Man comic started. To that end, Hasbro have created a new teenage boy body, a trio of words that I always feel creepy saying, essentially the equivalent of the teenage girl body seen recently with Spider-Gwen, and frankly I've been pleasantly surprised how deep Hasbro have dug into the Marvel roster with reuses of that body. So I'm fairly certain now Hasbro have budgeted for this teenage boy version, it'll be popping up aplenty over the years to come. Now, while I knew this new body was coming, honestly the impact of its size only really hit me opening the packaging and holding it in my hand. Because to answer Swedish Gojira fan 2000's question, yes, Pizza Spider-Man is significantly taller than Ultimate Spidey. And breaking out my tape measure to put specifics to that, Pizza Spidey stands a shade over 6 inches, while Ultimate Spidey is not quite 5.5. By the way, if you're wondering what the hell Pizza Spidey is, it's the one from the Hobgoblin Build-A-Figure wave, which we refer to as Pizza Spidey, what with him coming with a slice as an accessory. As to the question of which is best, well, it depends what you're looking for. The new Ultimate Spider-Man gets a big tick for giving us a different iteration of Spider-Man, yet I have a hunch many are looking for it to be the Ultimate Spider-Man, and by that I don't mean ultimate as in the comics or cartoon, I mean the quintessential Spider-Man. To that end, I think some might be disappointed by this new one's more childlike proportions, so they might plump for Pizza Spidey, certainly a Spider-Man with his high school years behind him. To me, Pizza Spidey is the quintessential one, but I'm happy to add a different take into the mix to sit alongside the Amazing Spider-Man movie version, for instance. But come next year in Spider-Man Homecoming, this Ultimate Spider-Man version will look more like the movie version in that Spidey will finally be played by an actual teenager and not a nigh 30-year-old man pretending to be one. Then here's the Red Hulk Bathwave black costume Spider-Man, albeit I swapped his lower legs out for ones with an ankle pivot because a Spidey without those, disgusting. And rumour is we'll be getting a new black costume version, I suspect on the Pizza Spidey body in the next wave of Spider-Man Legends. Then here's a side-by-side with Toy Biz's old Todd McFarlane Spider-Man, so named after the iconic artist that people filled this apes in style. Some still consider it the quintessential Spider-Man action figure. I may have agreed with that once, but now with the deeper we get into Hasbro's Marvel Legends, the specific style of it makes it a hard fit among them. Taking a closer look at Ultimate Spider-Man, and for the most part the deco is really quite crisp, yet on mine I do have like a messy fingerprint on the back there, you see that? It's as if some factory worker was eager to get him off the conveyor belt. Love the head sculpt. Always with Spider-Man head sculpts I like to see in profile the slight impression of a protruding nose to give a sense of a face under there, which we get that here, and I love the big white eyes and their black outline, which are sculpted raised in relief. Then we get an interchangeable head, which we got the half unmasked second head with Pizza Spidey, which was a treat in itself, yet here Legends go the whole hog with a fully unmasked Peter Parker head. Something we've seen previously in Toy Biz's Spider-Man Classics and more recently with Marvel Select, yet I'm pretty sure here for the first time in Legends. I love it. The expression really captures a young energy with a smile that I find infectious. As we all know, Marvel Legends face sculpts typically make them a glum bunch, so a sculpt like this is really quite refreshing. The hair is sculpted nicely too, capturing the short sides and back and long flop on top that was a signature of the artwork of the Ultimate Comics. Regarding the head, this is where Nick Dallas, among others, might be disappointed, as the ball peg of the neck is too big on Pizza Spidey to make a straight swap. You could Dremel some of the plastic away to allow the swap, but I have a hunch it'll leave him looking pin-headed as sitting Pizza Spidey's head on Ultimate Spider-Man, and we end up with the reverse. In addition to the interchangeable head, he also comes with interchangeable hands, a bunch of them. So in addition to the ones he comes packed with, for both of those he comes with a matching web shooting and clenched fist hand. Then this set with splayed fingers, which are a favourite of mine, what with how gestural they are. And to answer your question, Christian, Ultimate Spider-Man's hands are styled in the same poses as Pizza Spidey's, but if you do compare them, they are a different sculpt scaled to the smaller frame of the Ultimate Spider-Man body. Now looking at articulation, and both the heads rotate and each of the heads are able to bury their chins into his chest, and they're both able to look up really quite far. At the shoulder, his arms rotate and then they move up to just slightly more than a right angle to his body. And compared to Pizza Spidey, he is without that butterfly armpit joint that moves the arm backwards and forwards. Then he has upper arm rotation. The red pegs and the elbow are a bit ugly against the blue. Back in the Toy Biz days, they would have painted those, but now it's up for you to do that yourself or live with it. Anyway, they achieve a double jointed elbow, then there's rotation at the wrist and the hand is hinge moving down and up. He has rotation at the waist and then an ab crunch which moves this far forward. Yeah, that's pretty far. And then it moves this far back. At the hips, his legs move out to the side this much. Now, Pizza Spidey's hip articulation was quite contentious, with many believing for an agile character like Spider-Man, the range of posability just wasn't there, and Ultimate Spider-Man's is better, but only just slightly. And then his legs move this far forward and they move slightly back. There's a double jointed knee, then rotation at the top of the boot, and the feet are hinge moving backwards and forwards, and he has that crazy ankle rocker pivot that I love. With this being his widest stance possible, still with both feet flat on the floor, and that's down to the limits of his hip articulation and not the ankle pivot. Certainly enough articulation for me, but then some major posers will never be happy until Chinese factories are shrinking actual people to 6 inches and flogging them as action figures. So all things considered, I'm really happy with Ultimate Spider-Man Peter Parker. It being the teenage Ultimate Comics version may make him too niche for some tastes, but I wouldn't be surprised in time if he becomes less niche. As I said, with next year's Spider-Man movie featuring a teenage Spider-Man, the comics are always desperate to attract a new readership by having some synergy with the movies, so don't be surprised if regular 616 Peter Parker somehow gets de-aged. Well, Polini Productions, here's the answer to your question, and thanks for bringing it up, as the Ultimate Green Goblin Build-A-Figure is not one that's on my or many people's radar, I think. And as I said, the Ultimate Comics reimagined Marvel, well, Green Goblin is a great example of just how brave and bold they got with that, taking him far from his main Marvel version. So now that we have his in-continuity Spider-Man to go with him, it opens up some display possibilities for the bath with the two together, and as such the two are a very fine example that it's not always the size of the dog in the fight that counts, but the size of the fight in the dog, or in this case Spider. Anyway, if you missed me unbox the Wave, then click the video on the left for a preview of reviews to come. Are they strong? Listen, bud, they've got radioactive blood. And stay tuned, as next up is the other Ultimate Spider-Man, Miles Morales. Well, Taste-Nicho, to answer your question, I don't really want to get ahead of ourselves and overshadow this wave of Spider-Man legends, but yeah, I'm pretty flipping excited I could pee myself. And I just did. Please give this video a big thumbs up, and I hope to see you all next time. Bye.